Every year in every draft, there is that one hot prospect that rockets up the draft boards. Whether they're a late bloomer or just fell through the cracks before, it's just one of those things you can set your watch to. This year, no one has exploded into the first overall pick conversation more than Logan Cooley. Seen widely as outside the top 5 entering this season, Cooley's play has attracted a lot of attention, and rightfully so. He's a fast, dynamic center that should be a player to watch in the NHL for years to come. But is his draft stock rising because he's that good, or because the other top draft prospects have been middling for most of this season? Shane Wright, Ivan Miroshnichenko, and especially Brad Lambert have really failed to live up to their preseason hype, leaving the door open for players like Logan Cooley. Cooley has certainly stepped up and seized that opportunity, so let's take a look and see why. Cooley has a sick shot. His release is one of the fastest out there, and it alone has meant he's been able to feast on the young goaltenders of the USHL. The lightning quick release is made even more deadly by his willingness to shoot from anywhere. This is the hallmark of every top goal scorer out there, and it makes it nearly impossible for opposing defensemen and goalies to anticipate, and leaves them shaking their heads as a quick snipe from the high slot whizzes by them. This is where the next elite aspect of Cooley's shot comes in. It's accurate enough to score from anywhere. With great lift, the top corners are always on the table, but I would like to see him maybe work on shooting lower, aiming for the 6 and 7 holes under the goalie's arms. These are the locations that the great NHL goal scorers shoot for, as they are the hardest to stop coming off a quick release. They trigger the goaltender to go down into butterfly, but the lift causes them to keep their arms up higher, opening them up. Ovechkin and Austin Matthews score a lot shooting here, and if Cooley works on exploiting this weakness, he will too. The one other thing worth mentioning is his backhand. It's wicked. In fact, just count how many highlights in this video are him scoring with his backhand. First one to leave a comment with the correct amount gets a prize. Playmaking is also a big part of Cooley's game. No pass seems too intimidating for him to attempt, or too difficult for him to make. What helps him pull this off is his quick vision and ability to use his eyes. He doesn't telegraph with a full head swivel, rather trusting his earlier glances and his teammates. The quick release that makes his shot so deadly is present here as well, as pucks just seem to jump off his stick. He has a good feel for the offensive zone and always finds a way to get behind defenders, catching them off guard and making plays. He has a tendency to puck watch, however, especially on the forecheck. I'd like to see him anticipate where the puck is going more, putting himself in a place to make a big play, intercepting the puck and continuing an offensive possession. It is something that some players can learn, but ultimately, it has to become a second nature to him if he's going to use it to its fullest extent. One thing that we can all agree on is that Cooley is fast. His tape is filled with breakaways, and it's easy to see why. He has nice, strong, powerful strides. One of the misconceptions that many people have about skating is that leg movement equals speed. This isn't actually the case, as short, quick strides can be good in tight places, but go try to do that in a race down the ice. All you'll do is tire yourself out while you get beat by someone with a longer stride. It's simple when you think about it. A longer, powerful stride means your skate is on the ice, propelling you forward for longer and with far less interruptions. This works better than quick little pushes that start and stop as you have to transition from leg to leg. With Logan Cooley, you can see him build speed with his stride, as he'll choose to move in mostly straight lines to maximize it. That said, he never seems to leave his opponent in the dust. Rather, he's always just a step ahead of them. I'm interested to see how this translates to the NHL level, where his competition on a whole will be faster. Defensively, Cooley is solid, but not spectacular. He backchecks with effort and engagement, but tends to hang out higher in the defensive zone, always keeping an eye out for an opportunity to break up the ice. That can be okay, but if he's going to be a top center in the NHL, that is not something he's going to have the luxury of doing. He's going to have to be more aggressive at coming down lower into his zone and using his stick to pester opponents and take away passing lanes. I believe he can do this, it's just something that he might have to work on for a few more years. Finding a good player comp for Logan Cooley was actually difficult for me. Not many players that are on the smaller side of things have shots like him, nor the playmaking style he presents. To be honest, the first player that popped into my mind, and possibly the best comp I can find, was Lee Stempniak. Much like Cooley, Stempniak's highlight reel is full of breakaway goals, good playmaking skills, and knowing exactly where to be at the right time. But wait, I hear you say, how can a top draft prospect be compared to a career bottom 6 guy who only cracked 20 goals once in his career? Well, because style of play and skill level are two different things. Just because Logan Cooley plays like Lee Stempniak doesn't mean that that's the player he'll be or his production ceiling. Cooley's shot is the best example of this. Like Stempniak's, it has a quick release, but unlike Stempniak, Cooley's is far more accurate and his shot is heavier, meaning it's going to result in a goal more often or be harder to control for a goaltender and produce rebounds. Just those little differences can be the difference between a 15-goal scorer and someone who could score 25 a year. Follow this line of thinking across the board, and you get a player in Logan Cooley that projects to be a consistent goal scorer and playmaker who will win battles with speed as well as being able to help shut down opposing teams in a top 6-ish capacity. I think it could be a good idea for a team to let him play a season on the wing so that they can take full advantage of his abilities while letting him build up his confidence. If you must have a more modern and exciting player comp, there are parallels between Cooley and Jack Hughes. Beyond just the fact that they came from the US development team, they both have great shots and good offensive instincts while playing with a smaller frame. I could definitely see Cooley following a similar career trajectory to Hughes, where it might take a few seasons before things click and come together for him at the NHL level. Like Hughes, however, I think when they do, Cooley is going to be one to watch. Thanks for watching our latest Former Scouts Take video, with a special thanks going to our awesome patrons over on Patreon. They get to see these videos a month early and vote on who we take a look at next. If that sounds interesting to you, head over to our Patreon page with the link in the description below and take a look at all the great content we have to offer there. Just don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to our channel before you go.